Hi everybody. Today we're going to talk about 3 things you can teach your students about how their brain works so that they are going to feel more relaxed in your class and be more willing to learn. Hi, my name is Jeanette Stein and I'm the owner of highschoolmathteachers.com, and my specialty is helping high school math teachers reach difficult or underprepared students so that they can reach their full potential. So just to get us started, I would love to see where are you from, and just let us know a little bit about yourself. And I'd love to do that with a question of the day. And today my question at the end of summer is, what did you do this summer that left you feeling refreshed? Did you get a vacation? Did you do something fun? Could you share that with us? I would love to see what you guys have been up to and how you are doing before you head back to school, or if you've headed back. A couple of you, I noticed you're in the first couple days or even in the first couple weeks. How are you doing with all of that? So today we are going to talk, if you're just joining us, we are going to talk about the 3 things you can teach your students about how their brain works that is going to help them to relax and enjoy your classroom a lot more. So the first thing about the brain that I would love for you to share with your students is that relearning something is easier. Relearning something that you've already learned before is going to be easier. So how often are we in class, and I think we can all see that, sorry about that. I was worried there was a glitch there because I do live out in the country. But I think we've all been in a place where we are frustrated that our students don't remember something. So for example, teaching Algebra 1, you get very frustrated when they don't remember how to add or subtract fractions. Or teaching geometry when they don't remember how to solve a basic equation or find a supplementary angle, and you know they've done that through middle school and Algebra 1. It can be really irritating. But what I like to tell students is that relearning it, if you don't remember this, relearning it is easier. So for example, what I will tell my students is, have you ever heard that song? Have you ever heard that song that you haven't thought of in years? And if somebody had asked you to sing it by the title alone, you wouldn't even know the lyrics. But when you hear that intro music, how many of you can just sing along? Because that path has already been created. Your brain already knows it. You might not remember it right off the bat, but as soon as you get that trigger, you're going to remember it. It's kind of like walking down a path, and sometimes there's sticks in the way, but do you want to make a path through the woods the first time? If it's deep brush, you're cutting it all down, you're working really hard. I tell them that's like learning fractions for the first time. Now, the second time you go down there, maybe it's been a couple months and some trees have fallen, you're not going to have to clear the same kind of path. When students understand that and you get frustrated, they haven't remembered something from the previous year, or you're having to reteach something, remind them and remind yourself that as they've learned this more and more times, it should be quicker and easier to go through that material. That is always super helpful. So the second thing that I love to teach my students about their brain is sleeping on it. Have you ever had that class period where the fire bell rings in the middle of it, or you've had an assembly, or there's been some other interruption where you're not able to really bring your class to conclusion? Kids are leaving and they're kind of frustrated. They get really irritated. They come in the next day, I didn't get it yesterday, and they're just kind of negative. What I like to teach my students is that they are able to sleep on it. They've heard the old expression, just sleep on it. If you sleep on it, that is when your brain builds those connections. And when they are able to build those connections, that's when they're going to retain the information. So when they come in the next day, it's actually going to be easier for them to learn it. And it's also going to be more understanding. They're going to feel like the content's so much easier. So I always like to teach my students that no matter what, if you sleep on it, it will feel easier the next day. And that's why sometimes learning something new, playing a game for the first time, going to the batting cages even for the first time, you sleep on it, you come back, and your brain is wired to fix that problem. Your brain will build those connections. It files everything away while you sleep. And so students will really find that refreshing. They're not going to believe you the first 2 or 3 times you tell them. You have to tell them and show them that it's true, and they will then realize it. So when that fire drill goes off and you're rushing them all outside, you don't get to finish your lesson, say, I know you're feeling a little confused. We're coming back to this tomorrow, but you have an advantage over all my other classes. You get to sleep on this information and come back. Tomorrow it will feel so much easier. They love hearing that, and it's refreshing to them because they are frustrated. You're frustrated the content's not finished and you're sending them out frustrated. They're frustrated. To know that there's an advantage there really does help build it up. The third thing that we need to teach our students, they really need to hear it over and over again, is that multitasking is a myth. Multitasking cannot be done effectively. So, and that's really hard to tell a bunch of teachers, isn't it? Because we have to multitask. We have to deal with 30 plus personalities in our classroom. We have to deal with the phone ringing and the door and the fire drill. We have to deal with kids who've come in from difficult situations from the night before, and I get that. But I also am very purposeful. During my planning time, there are times I hide, I close the door, and I get to work in an uninterrupted space because I need that. Well, our kids need it too. They need to know that they can focus on one thing at a time. It's going to help them to understand. It's going to help them to retain the information if they're not being interrupted. And yes, the phone's still going to go off and the fire drills are still going to go out. But do we need the phones going off? Do we need them hiding in their laps? Okay, of course we know they're there. But if they are self-motivated because they understand how their brain works and why we're asking that, not just put your phone away, I don't want it out. All they hear is, I don't want you talking to your friends. All they hear sometimes is, you want to control me. If you say, no, I've got your best interest. This is what I've learned about how the brain works. When you focus on one thing, you do so much better. When you're interrupted, even when I'm working on my computer and I'm making a worksheet or I'm grading papers, I turn that phone alarm off, because when you get interrupted, it takes 10 to 15 minutes for you fully to get back into the focus of things. It really robs you of your time. And so helping students to really understand how their brain works will really reduce the frustration. So just to recap, if we tell them that relearning is easier, instead of saying, you know, you learned this last year, I know you can do it again, they know that. They don't need to be talked down to. They don't need to feel dumb. We're going to shut them down. So instead of shutting them down, if we're able to teach them that relearning is easier, they're going to feel more hopeful about the class. If we tell them that they can sleep on it, so that when they do leave and they are frustrated, they know that they can come back feeling a little more refreshed, and it's going to be easier the next day. This is really going to help them to come in with a more positive attitude. And last, if we teach them how to focus on one thing at a time, this isn't just going to help them in our math class. This is going to help them in life. How many people do we know that are wasting their life away being distracted by everything? And so we want to really help set our kids up, not just for success in our classrooms, but for success in life. And for them to help understand how their brain works, we're really going to get a lot of success. On Thursday evening or Friday morning, we're going to have the exact same training. We're going to have a workshop where we're going to talk about these skills. I use the term at risk a lot, but at risk means maybe underprepared, maybe they have a difficult home situation, maybe things are not going well, maybe they're shutting down in your class. We're going to talk about very specific strategies, just like we mentioned in the video yesterday, just like today, but we're going to get more in depth, and we're going to have really actionable things for you. If you're interested in joining us in that training, at the end you'll get a certificate of completion. You'll also get some handouts for you to take with you and use in your classroom. If those are going to be helpful, please go ahead. I'm going to put a link at the bottom in the comments below this video when I'm done, or you can scroll to the top. I pinned a post at the top of this page that has a link so you can register for that training. We would love to invite you in. It's offered 2 different times if it's live. If you can't make it live, still sign up and I'll send you the replay link. I know everybody's busy this time of year. I don't expect everybody to be free on a Thursday evening or a Friday morning. But I did want to offer live because it's so nice to be able to interact. And if you are finding these videos useful, please feel free to share them. I would find it quite the compliment if you did share them. And you can always hit the follow button. There's one right below if you're on your phone or on your computer. Go ahead and hit that follow button, and then you'll be notified every single time that we go live. So I'm just really excited with the positive feedback. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you at the training. And then we'll be doing a couple more of these lives. We've got quite a few lined up for you, and I hope you find them really useful as you start your year off this year. Thanks so much, and have a great day. And it doesn't want to turn off. If you put your face in here, you get to be live too. My daughter's wanting to be on camera, I think. They saw you come out the door.